Hello folks, so let's continue with the series. We will speak about Ketu in the 10th and Rahu in the 4th house today. 10th house is one of the most important houses. It's the strongest Kendra house. It's an Upajjaya house. It's the zenith point and therefore the most visible house. So any planet that sits here will get prominence for better or for worse. Yeah. So let's speak further about this. Alright, so Ketu in the 10th and Rahu in the 4th. Now classics will say that one with Ketu in the 10th house has a lot of courage. It can make you a good influencer. It can make you famous. And very often the knowledge that you have acquired is self-acquired knowledge rather than learning it in a traditional setting. You could have taught yourself everything that you know in your profession or in your livelihood. But it can give uncertainty in profession. Some ups and downs. You can have trouble also choosing one path and sticking to it. If you work for someone, you will have trouble keeping that job. You may not last very long. Because you may be too intelligent and quick for your boss. And even your peers. So you could easily get irritated if you work for someone. So job dissatisfaction is inevitable with this position. A downfall is also possible if you get overly ambitious. Your sense of dignity can be so strong with this placement that you think that you are above the small jobs. Yeah. Work and people can seem under your level in some ways. And this is probably true, as you would be very intelligent with this placement, as well as self-taught. You can, of course, be successful. And with this position, it will allow you to take risks, make bold career moves, be fearless. There can be more than one career in life, but that happens with many people now. You can feel a lack of fulfillment in career matters, and therefore you switch. You can find it difficult to feel close to others, to get close to others, as you tend to be very calculating about whom you associate with. And you prefer to be with those that look up to you, or maybe they need you in some way. You also tend to be very guarded and don't let others see your true self. Your parents could have had too many expectations from you, which led you to seek success at the cost of personal happiness. There's an underlying belief with this placement that being the best and the highest is the only way to be happy. And in this way, you can always be waiting for the next big thing in your life. For the big glories, right? For that big moment. You would find it difficult to appreciate or celebrate the small victories in life. And you tend to only appreciate the major successes, but nothing in the middle. It's very important to form a new set of values, rather than the ones instilled by your parents, to always be on the top, to always be the best. Breaking free can be difficult, but this way you will end up being true to yourself. Letting go of all the familiar ideals of your upbringing may take many transformations, but can lead to finding true purpose and real freedom in life. With this placement, relationship with your father may be strained. It may be distant. There'll be a lack of communication. There'll be a lack of understanding. With Ketu in the 10th house, you can be very protective of others, but sometimes too controlling, with family and friends, and even with colleagues. But it's difficult for you to let others in. This is, after all, the natural house of Capricorn. So you need to channel your power in a different direction, because this position of Ketu can make you want to control others in order to feel powerful. Right? And you would be trying to impress everyone, which is another tendency for this Ketu placement. Of course, this calms down when you have the nodal maturity in your 40s. There is so much emphasis on image consciousness with this placement. You may be busy asserting a hierarchy, making you unable to deal with others on an equal basis. So you're calculating about how you deal with others, as I mentioned before. Always wanting to be the best, always wanting to be number one, the leader with this position. The karmic lesson is to appreciate the small achievements in life instead of only seeing the big ones. The obsession with being the best, being on top, should also be addressed, because this may lead to depression at times, and can also lead to a feeling of worthlessness, a lack of appreciation even for your accomplishments. Needing to form a new set of values that doesn't treat success as the ultimate goal is necessary here. When working in its highest vibration, you can realize that a lot of values and ideals that were imposed on you in your early upbringing, you need to let them go. And learn to be happy with the small pleasures, and learn to be happy with the simple things in life. This is a placement for finding true life purpose by letting go of imposed values, imposed structures. Also, it's a good placement to help you build new foundations out of scratch. Which brings us to Rahu in the 4th house. 4th house is what? It's your inner core. So this placement of Rahu, of course, can be problematic. Right? Rahu here can cause anxiety, it can cause restlessness. It can lead you toward a constant chase for happiness. You're always seeking happiness outside, either through travel, through property purchase, through car purchase, all those creature comforts that bring us sort of like a fleeting contentment. And this constant search can create instability in the mind, leading to a discontent. And when do you experience that discontent? Usually in the Rahu Dasha. This placement is not good for domestic peace. It can also bring problems at home, fights with a spouse, fights with the family. And depending on what else is going on in the chart, this placement of Rahu can of course bring wealth, properties, cars. Yeah. But it can show a lack of wealth if the moon is not well placed. So you have to see, because moon is the natural ruler of 4th house. You also have to see the 4th lord. Is it in good dignity? Is it afflicted? 4th house is of course your roots, and this needs to be reformed with that Ketu in the 10th. This placement will propel you to seek out a life in other countries. You'll be keen to put down roots somewhere, and you will do so in foreign places, away from your birthplace. And if that's the case, it's a good thing. Ketu in the 10th will make you realize that much of your beliefs connected to your home were actually imposed throughout your childhood, possibly from the mother and her side of the family. This placement can also show an eccentric mother, Rahu in the 4th, okay? Or a foreigner as a mother. So for example, she may be of a different religion or culture than your father. It can also create a strong attachment to the mother, sort of like Rahu and Moon conjunction. But there will be a feeling of disenchantment with the mother, especially during Rahu Dasha. You may feel a sort of constant disappointment or a letdown with her, with your mother, or even mother-like figures in your life. The mother can also be too smothering and have too many expectations of you when you're growing up with this Rahu in the 4th. She may also project her own dreams onto you. And that's quite common with this placement. The father can be absent with this placement. Maybe he passed away at a young age, or he's disconnected from your life in some way. This placement can show a foreign home, away from your birthplace, and as I said, it would actually be very positive if you established a foreign home or some kind of foundation. It could even be based on your career. This placement can also show a person who is curious about the esoteric, the occult, spirituality. How much you delve into it depends on other factors in the chart, of course. Rahu in the 4th does create a lot of restlessness. There's always this questioning about the average, ordinary ways of life, such as marriage, such as home, such as children. There's a feeling that these are all trappings with Rahu in the 4th. So your domestic life can be unsettled. But again, it will be during the dasha, antardasha of Rahu that you'll experience this. With Rahu in the 4th, you can also move a lot. You will certainly have a hard time with a 9-to-5 job. It's a good placement for being an advisor, counselor, a teacher, especially if Mercury is strong in your chart. It's also a good placement for decorators, for architects, property dealers, and even farmers. Right? You will love to decorate your home. You will spend a lot of time at home with this placement. This Rahu can result in breaks during your education. And there could also be confusion about your educational path. There will be an unusual interest in land or real estate dealings, and this can result in big gains for you. This placement can give you a lot of attachment to your homeland, to your birthplace. But be watchful of buying property in your homeland if Rahu is afflicted. You can also be prone to some manipulation by your mother over property matters with this placement. On the other hand, you can also benefit from property ownership with one or both parents. Early childhood experience could be difficult. Either the mother is separated or the family life is unhappy in some way, right? Rahu going into the 4th. So you will have to learn to balance emotions with practical considerations. And if you're in that dasha, you may swing from one end to the other throughout your life. It depends on how strong this placement is. Emotions and the practical considerations. It also depends on the strength of the moon in your chart. Be careful with your eating habits, as you tend to neglect them with this placement. Like, for example, you may eat out too much, because it can give digestion issues. So that's all for now, folks. Hope you enjoy that. If so, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. All the best.